Hello and welcome to another episode of Frightfully Forgotten Horror Movies. And today we're going to bring an extremely frightfully forgotten one to you. Literally forgotten. This movie was lost for some 30 years and just found in the mid-90s. It is 1974's Deranged. It was directed by Alan Ormsby and Jeff Gillen. And Alan Ormsby wrote Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. It stars Roberts Blossom. He was in some of our favorite movies, too. Escape from Alcatraz, Mr. Zimmerman, Christine, Who's Rita?
His wife. Didn't give a rat's ass about her.
And Home Alone. He was the old man with the shovel, right?
Well.
And interestingly enough, Harvey Keitel and Christopher Walken auditioned for the part.
Yeah, his part
Yeah.
as Ezra.
The movie also, it doesn't star, but it also has Marion Waldman in it. And she doesn't play a very big part in this movie, but she was in Black Christmas.
So Deranged is heavily based on the Ed Gein story. And he was a grave robber and a murderer. And the story influenced several things. It influenced the novel and movie Psycho. It influenced Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Loosely.
Yeah, it influenced this movie, of course. And probably this movie is the closest as far as recreating the Ed Gein story out of all those.
That's right. It's almost like an autobiography, this movie.
Besides the movie entitled Ed Gein, this is probably the closest. It starts off with Ezra Cobb is taking care of his sick mother the day she dies. He comes into her room with some, looks like pea soup.
Yeah.
Because it's really green. He's trying to feed her the soup and she refuses to eat it. No matter what she says, his remedy is, oh, you need to have some soup, Mama.
Yeah, no, I don't want any.
Yeah. Well, she plants the seed in his brain that women in general are bad.
Yeah, they're diseased.
They're diseased and they're rotten and they're horrible and they're evil. They'll do nothing but corrupt him. She starts coughing up all his blood.
And he's like still trying to feed her the soup.
He's still like trying to shovel it. All his blood's coming out, the pea soup is trying to go in. So Ezra Cobb is very distraught by the death of his mother. Even at the funeral, you can tell he's starting to go a little insane. A year goes by, and he's still talking to his mother like she's there.
Right.
He's always dreaming about her. It's time for Mama to come home again. Just over a year after her death, he goes to her grave and digs her up. And when he opens up the grave, he sees her as she was when she was alive.
Right, and it kind of window into his madness.
Yeah,
sort of.
but then it kind of dissolves into the actual corpse that was really there, which is a very good-looking corpse. I think that the corpse is very effective in this movie. It does look like an embalmed body that has been rotting away. He takes her into the out of the coffin, into his truck, like a pig in shit. He's so happy he's got his mouth. He's singing. He's He gets pulled over by a cop because he was speeding. Cop's pretty funny. He's like, "Have you been drinking, Ezra?" No, sir. Well, let me smell your breath. What the hell have you been drinking?
Holy God!
And I guess he just says that he has been just finished slaughtering a hog or something like that. That's his excuse. He's like, sorry for calling you a hog, Mama. He gets Mama home and realizes that she's in some pretty rough shape. He actually has dinner first with his only friends, it seems. His friend there sees the obituary of one of their teachers. It kind of shows how sheltered Ezra is. He doesn't even know what an obituary is.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
And, it tells about the person's life who had just died and where they're buried and when the funeral is.
Yeah, and how fresh the corpse is.
Yeah, so then the light bulb goes off and he blurts it out. He just says in front of everybody. And, if you wanted to go get something, for repairs, you could. He's like, what? Well, if you just need the head.
You wouldn't need the whole thing.
You don't need the whole thing.
Everybody's like,
He starts robbing graves to patch together Mama.
Yeah. One day while he's outside kind of fixing, I think like a tractor or something with these friends of his, they kind of almost corner him and, well, Ezra, I think it's time you got married.
I've heard it before.
The only friend of his mom's was a woman by the name of Maureen Selby. the only reason why he can trust her is because she's fat.
Yeah, that's his mom says that on her deathbed. She's the only woman you could trust because she's fat.
Yeah, and I don't really understand that, but okay.
And she's a nut bar too.
Yeah, exactly. He goes to her apartment. And
when the elevator opens, he's dressed in that whole timey outfit with the straw hat
from like the 1920s. Her husband had died too, right? So she gets this thing in her mind that she wants to do a bit of a seance. It's funny because Ezra starts to see this and think that she's a little crazy.
Yeah, even though he's off his fucking rocker.
Exactly. Too. He's the one digging up friggin' bodies and everything. She gets it going and she kind of turns into her husband and and she starts getting all hot and bothered and sort of horny and everything. And my husband
wants you to do me a
favor. And so she drags Ezra into the room to kind of get things going. Ezra starts to look at her face and starts seeing his mama. Women are diseased, women are no good.
Yeah.
And he puts a pillow over her face and shoots her.
That seance scene is the right type of comedy in the right place in the movie. It kind of breaks up the real kind of like
that grittiness
a little bit and kind of gives you a little bit of a break from that.
This is his first kill. So he kind of starts to get the taste for it. Anyways, he goes to the town pub or the town tavern where there's Stompin' Tom Connors playing, in the background, which is very Canadian. Gets his eyes locked on the waitress. Pretty sweet looking, you know. And
even the drunk guy behind him thinks so.
Look at them titties.
Look at them titties. That titties with a capital T.
And he gets kind of drunk too that night.
Yeah, he's never drinking before.
That's right.
She gets him drunk on whiskey sours.
Which only cost 75 cents.
If only.
Yeah, I know. Finally, one night, he gets the gumption to actually do it. Takes a knife, he slashes her tires. And when she's pulling away, she has to stop the car and get out and look. And he's right there, too, eh? I'm going to drive you to my house. I got spare tires. I can, help you out.
Well, I pay for it. I'll do it for free.
Exactly. So he parks his truck outside, and he goes inside the house, and
he never comes out again.
Exactly, and it's very weird. It's ominous.
It's a neat scene.
Yeah, because they show the house, and it's like really dark and everything, and
she's just waiting.
Quiet. You can hear crickets, and finally she gets tired of waiting, and she gets out and goes to the house. She goes into this one room, and she notices that there's corpses sort of sitting on these chairs that are all around the room. Lo and behold, Ezra Cobb, who's sitting there
amongst the corpses.
Yeah, and he's got this weird fucking mask on. It's this made out of skin. He starts winding up this fucking music box. And
first she hits him with a lantern.
Yeah, and he goes down, and she bolts it out of the house, and he follows her out.
And that scene where he's running down the hallway, he's got that wig on and the mask and the bra.
And he follows her right into the truck, and that's it. That's the end of the scene. That's where we're going to end it for you, too. We're not going to spoil any more for you.
Starts off with this reporter talking about the events of the movie. And it's probably something that I could do without.
Yeah.
I really enjoy this movie a lot. But that reporter guy, he could have been cut out.
Yeah, because he's like peppered throughout the movie too, and it
takes away from it.
Yeah, it divides your concentration. Right?
When we're watching, we just watched this movie again before we're shooting right now.
Yeah.
And we watched the credits roll, and it says special effects. There's a couple of people, but Tom Savini's in that list.
Yeah.
Like, oh fuck, Tom Savini's in it, and we were saying during the movie how good that the corpses look and the effects and stuff.
They look real.
Yeah, they look like real rotten corpses.
Yeah,
and lo and behold, the master himself, Tom Savini, was behind it. So there you go.
And the music too is really good for this movie.
The church organ type music.
Do 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 do.
And when there's not that music playing, there's like some strings, like classical type music playing, which is really good. But you still hear that organ music in the background, like behind the other music, so it's always there.
Yeah.
That hymn.
That's the theme, the theme of the movie, which is what we're always harping on.
Yeah.
Robert's Blossom is perfect for this movie.
You said it the best when we were watching it, where you said no one else could play this role as good as him.
Yeah, he plays a perfect, weirdo creep.
Yeah.
And his facial expressions, everything is just perfect.
Not once do you look at Robert's performance and think, well, he's acting.
Not once.
Not once, no. Yeah, that's how good he is.
Yeah.
It was shot in Canada to avoid some tax things.
Right.
And it was shot in Ontario, different parts of Ontario, Oshawa, Ontario. It was very close to Wisconsin, as far as looking like Wisconsin is where the actual Ed Gein stuff happened.
Yeah.
And like we mentioned, the comedy is in the right places. It doesn't hit you in the face, seem out of left field. The comedy works within the movie very well.
It's perfect.
Even the seance scene, I was thinking about it, where like it's so ridiculous, but I'm like, everyone has that story where they go on some weird date and they end up like, what am I doing here? What's going on? Like even Ezra has that happen,
and
like,
he's the nut job in this. He's like looking at her, and he even knows. It looks Canadian. I could see some people getting turned off by it a bit, but
I think it helps. Actually, I think that kind of film grain, that look of the film helps the movie, helps that grittiness, that
kind of old feel or something.
Farmhouse, like backwoods type feel.
Yeah, it's perfect.
That's Deranged for you. It is Deranged. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
It came out just after Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah.
So maybe it was overshadowed by that because that was such a prolific movie.
I think so. Say it wasn't actually lost, I think it still would have been forgotten.
Oh, I think so. So yeah, check it out. Deranged, 1974. Not lost anymore, so buy it.
Yes.